Oni,
Yeah, Galen.
I'm in trouble. My wife is not too happy with me.
And yet, I'm not surprised. I can't imagine what you've brought upon yourself this time.
I feel like I messed up. I mean, I think I might have to sleep on the couch or something, like it's that bad.
What is this? Is this a bit?
She heard about our podcast of us talking about Animal Crossing last week, and she is not impressed. She was so disappointed.
Oh, we should have had her on.
Oh, that would be amazing. Like, you should listen to her talk about this game.
We had her on once before, remember?
I know, and she talked about the game, and it was amazing.
And we listened, but you're telling me this like it's new information.
Well, it's true. But I'm just saying, we did not do this game service as the integral journalists that we are.
Oh, God. Neither of us are
I couldn't
journalists.
say that with a straight face.
Yeah, exactly. Then the only way to rectify this is to have your wife on sometime soon.
I'm okay with this.
Boy, that sounds painful. Hello, my beautiful platinum babies who never lose their luster. Friends, thank you for joining us today on the Nintendo Everything podcast. This is episode 69.
Yeah.
It's the sexy
Nice.
episode.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, getting that joke right out of the way, right up front.
And it's kind of nice how you kind of like flipped it around at the very beginning. So.
Just like a 6 and a 9.
Yeah. That was the joke.
It only gets funnier with more explanation, according to Galen. Anyway, my name is Oni Dino.
This is just the foreplay, ladies and gentlemen.
Stop that. Immediately stop that. Ectogamut, okay? And with me, I have this joke. He's a newly announced knight in the Shovel Knight expansion of games. He's big and tall, and he bumbles around. He goes by the name Dumpy Knight. But I know him as Galen.
You know, say what you will, they're still giving me my own game.
That's not true. You are fodder in a game that does not star you.
Okay, what Shovel Knight game does not have a different knight? What knight does not have their own game?
What dictionary do you read?
I don't know. I borrowed it from you. Where did you get it?
Space. I got it from space.
It is the space dictionary then.
Galen, we have so much to talk about in this episode. It's a jam-packed episode, so let's get moving to it.
Absolutely.
So stop ruining this podcast and stop derailing it.
I will do my best. I am following your lead, oh fearless leader.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So what's coming up in this episode? Galen and I have a bunch of games to talk about. We also have information about GDC getting postponed till summer. Samurai Jack video game announcement out of nowhere. A bunch of platinum announcements happening. Updates on the Wonderful 101 Kickstarter. The release date already of that game. And then, of course, there was a Shovel Knight... Yacht Club Presents presentation.
No, it was a Shovel Knight Direct, let's be completely
not
honest.
entirely Shovel Knights. There was some cyber shadows in there. I saw some cybers. They were shadowing.
I very much appreciated the cyber shadow.
So let's get the show on the road. Everybody, thank you very much for joining us. Of course, we are a weekly show. Episodes go live every Sunday, bright and early, blah, blah, blah. We're on pretty much all the podcast platforms like iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, whatever, you name it, we're there, probably. Please take a moment to rate us on that podcast listening platform or sharing us with a friend or on a Discord group that you're like, hey, you should check out this podcast. They're yelling at each other nonstop. They really, really hate each other.
There is a lot of yelling, and this is only the stuff that we actually pick up. Like, when the mics go off, oh boy.
So anyway, help us with that. That helps the show grow. Anyway, nothing else to do. What words am I saying? Without further ado...
Resort to the space dictionary.
Let's get moving on to our adventure log. Hey everyone, this is future Oni Dino. I just remembered when editing the podcast in post that I forgot to mention I'm going to be guesting on another podcast this week, so you can get twice that Oni action, more of that good that you crave. The podcast is called Nintendo Fuse, and we're going to be recording March 3rd at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be a live podcast. There's going to be like a chat and everything like that. So please stop by and join us live and talk to us live, and I'll talk back. You can find the podcast by going to YouTube and just searching Nintendo Fuse. That's Fuse. Or, of course, I'll be tweeting it out on my Twitter. So if you're not following me there, then follow me there. It's at Oni_Dino for my Twitter. And yeah, I hope that all of you early listeners of this podcast come over and join us for some live chatting. I'm a little bit nervous because I don't like doing things live. This is only going to be like my second live podcast I've ever guested on. And it's going to be kind of interesting because, of course, I run the Nintendo Everything podcast, right? So I control the flow and I manage everything. And on this one, I'm just going to have to sit back and, yeah, we'll see how things go. Please join my disaster on the Nintendo Fuse podcast. Oh, God. I really hope I don't screw it up for them. Oh, God. I'm sorry, guys. Anyway, back to the show. Let's go to the adventure log. Thank you. Thank you. So, Galen, when I play video games, I post about them on my Twitter. What do you do when you play video games? Do you post them on your Twitter?
Sometimes I do. Yes, absolutely.
All the time you do. And where can people contact you? What is your Twitter?
People can get that Twitter. I had a joke here. It's not coming together. My Twitter,
what's your excuse every 101 times besides that?
It's something about fish and Twitter sauce, like tartar sauce, but yeah.
Oh, God, that's... Galen, that sucks.
It was just way too fishy.
You're derailing this podcast. Goodness God.
My Twitter is at Mobius087 if you want to hear more lovely gems such as that one.
Yeah. Sometimes just like nuggets of pearl fall out of his mouth.
It's nuggets of something.
Exactly. And if you want to send some nuggies my way, you can contact me on Twitter. That's at Oni_Dino. So Galen, let me tell you just a little bit about a game that I was playing very briefly this week.
This is the game of life.
No, that's a never-ending death masquerade that I play in the game of life. I started playing a game called Goblin Sword on the Nintendo Switch.
Okay. What, pray tell, is Goblin Sword? I've never heard of it.
Pray tell, my God, milady. This is a...
Hey.
Hey.
You can only say that if you're wearing a fedora.
Hey is for ponytas.
So...
Goblin Sword is... a 2D side-scrolling action platformer with some RPG elements. It is a port, I believe, from originally it was a mobile game, and now it's on the Switch, and it's like $5. It had a pre-purchase discount, and it was like $3. So I was like, oh yeah, okay. But the sprite work in this is very pretty and very reminiscent of a Super Nintendo game, which is already, tugging at my heart. The color palette chosen in particular reminded me very much of Breath of Fire 2, which you know how much that is my jam.
Sounds pretty awesome.
So, kind of had to get the game, and just for $3, like it was a no-brainer.
Wow, just $3?
Yeah.
Dang.
Wow, just $3?
Whoa.
That's the price of 2 chili dogs. So anyway, I played through 2 levels, and my God, the sound looping is so horrible in this game.
Oh, yeah?
So horrible that I had to stop playing. I actually went to Twitter to ask the devs of this game if they were going to fix it because it was that problematic for me.
Was it just, like, broken up and, like, super jarring? Or, like, how bad are we talking?
It was like maybe a minute-ish loop. And then when it would, loop back around, it suddenly was like a just hard cut into just bad sound editing.
Ugh.
Yes, that. And that emotion right there with your face.
Just that noise just looped for like 5 seconds. Just,
As long as it was a better loop than what that game had, I would have been fine with it. So anyway, thankfully the devs said on Twitter that they are going to look into fixing it in a patch. So I thank them for that. I am not going to touch this game again until that sound looping is finished. I really want to play it.
yeah.
Otherwise, I have to turn off the music and play the game. And that I don't want to do because I hate doing that because I think that like there's an intended experience, you know, however curated that experience is by the devs for the player, like whether it's something as simple as a little indie game or something as careful as like Nier Automata, there is an experience that is catered for you.
Oh, 100%.
So I don't like to like just turn off the music and then play my own music, that kind of thing, until like maybe I'm like super far into a game or something like that. So anyway,
I don't know. I mean, just turning off the music and throwing on some, like...
Diana Ross.
I was actually going to say Frog's theme from Chrono Trigger, but yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I've actually had that song stuck in my head for, like, the past couple of days, so...
That's good. You should. It's a great game and a great song. So anyway, Goblin Sword on the back burner.
Nice.
Not so nice. Hopefully it's going to be nice because I like the way that looks like Breath of Fire too.
I brought up a couple of images, and yeah, I definitely see what you mean about like the vibrancy of the colors.
Yeah, it's very pretty, and it just, I don't know, it's hitting the right elements with me.
Nice.
But I was so surprised because like just before, you know, I bought it, I decided to check out a review from a reviewer that I like on YouTube. His name is Budget Gamer. He has pretty concise, quick reviews of smaller indie titles. So I checked his thing out and he, you know, gave it a good recommendation, but I'm so surprised he didn't mention the sound looping problem. Like, I feel like I'm going crazy because I'm the only one that mentioned it, you know?
Do you think it's an isolated thing? Like it's just your version or iteration of your download?
That can't be.
I don't know.
Well, we'll see in the future.
In the few tartar.
I feel like I'm talking like those Star Trek people in that stupid Star Trek episode that you had me watch.
In the few twitar.
The Dash. What's that girl's name? Dijon?
I have Dijon, like Dijon mustard.
Yeah, the girl. Remember the girl? You recommended it in your additional DLC last week or 2 weeks ago.
I know, but I have no idea what you're talking about.
The girl's name. Dajaj.
Oh, yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Sounds like Dijon mustard.
It's weird sci-fi, we sound sciencey naming conventions.
Oh man, maybe we'll go on a rant about this later, but I did not like that first episode of Star Trek Picard at all.
Okay, I would very much like to talk to you about that at a later date.
Yeah, at a later date.
We got a lot of stuff going on this episode.
Speaking of stuff going on, Galen, tell me what's going on in your mystery dungeon on the rescue team. I didn't do a good job of introducing that title name. Please tell the people what title.
So I took a little bit of time out of my day to try out the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX demo, which just went live on the eShop not too long ago.
Maybe a month ago.
Has it really been that long?
Keep up, bitch.
Fair enough. Regardless, I finally got my hands on it and tried it out, and yeah, it's a game.
Brilliant.
So, for those of you who might have missed this a little bit, the Mystery Dungeon is a remake of the series. The game is going to be coming out on March 6th of this year. It is a dungeon crawling adventure. So, very reminiscent of something like Chocobo's Dungeon, where it is not only you going around in a dungeon, but the battle and everything is synced up to your movements. So, you can pause for a moment, see the enemies that are there, and plan out what actions you want to make. What I did find unique about the battle system portion of it is that you actually do get Pokemon moves that you can use. And as you level up, you can replace those. And you do have the traditional, 4 moves, or move sets that you can go ahead and use,
I
too.
see.
What I like about the game is that at the very beginning, they had you take a personality test, and they kind of randomly choose a a personality type, and a Pokemon for you.
Oh God, what was yours?
So the questions were a little weird. It's like, hey, what would you do if you saw a friend in trouble? And it gave you like 3 different options to go for. What
would you do, Galen, if you saw me in trouble?
You in trouble? That's a completely separate question. But my favorite question that came up was, a hand comes out of the toilet, what do you do?
You give it toilet paper, obviously.
The options were scream, slam the door, or slam the lid of the toilet, or shake its hand. I chose the latter.
I can't believe that give it toilet paper was not one of the options. That's what happens in 2 Zelda games, at least.
But with all of my choices that I made, I actually came up as a brave type.
That personality test sucks.
My wife also took it. She got a relaxed type.
Yeah, that personality test is not right.
Yeah. Like, my wife can be pretty relaxed sometimes.
Yeah, like a human.
But she's also very driven, so...
Yeah. She has to be on her toes because, well, you're so tall, but also because you need to be dragged along sometimes.
I was just going to say because I can be pretty impish sometimes, but yeah, I can't really argue with that one either.
Yeah, you can be impotent.
That's not what I said.
Isn't that what that word comes from?
Impish?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I think it is. Let's move on. Let's say it is, and I'll move on. So what Pokemon did you get?
I was randomly selected a Machop. And I thought that was a little weird. I would not have called that. It does give you the option to go ahead and select it, so if you don't like the one that they assign you, you can be a Pikachu, you can be an Eevee. They have quite a few of these starters that you can go ahead and switch to.
How many generations are we talking so far?
I would have to go back and look at it. I want to say that I saw at least 3 different generations. Like, I saw, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Charmander. I also saw a Torchic mixed in there.
Okay, that's Gen 3 for sure.
I saw a Mudkip in there.
I think that's also Gen 3.
I think so too. I know they have at least 3 or 4 generations worth of Pokemon that are in there.
All right.
But what's also cool is that you can go ahead and select your partners on there. So, being the Machop, I looked through the list and I saw a Cubone. So, Machop and Cubone just being lesser Pokemon.
They do seem like an underdog team that could have like their own TV special.
Yeah. That's actually kind of what I was thinking.
It could be like a detective TV show, and it'd be like Chopping Bones.
Yeah. It was kind of awkward because I was going through, and when they introduce you into the town, one of the item salespeople is a Genghis-Khan or a Kangaskhan.
Uh-huh.
And Cubone was just following me this entire time, and it's like, oh, hey, and there's this person, and I'm just like, ugh. Too soon?
What?
The whole, history of Cubone and the fact that he wears the skull of his dead mother, which is...
Oh!
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, is that actually true?
Yes, in several generations that has been the Pokedex entry.
Okay, wait, explain this to me. So Cubone is...
So Cubone and Marowak they're the ones that wear the skull helmet, and they have a bone that they use as a sword or a club or something.
Right.
But it is canon that if a Genghis-Khan or Kangaskhan dies, like the mother, the baby that's in the pouch goes on to become either a Cubone or a Marowak.
Okay. I feel like this isn't canon. This has to be like creepypasta 4chan canon.
Look it up. Just saying.
I don't care.
I mean, what are the chances that I'm wrong on the internet?
Slim to nil. Not. I'm gonna 69 that slim to nil. A sentence I never expected my mouth to say. What? Anyway, with your rubber hose team of people, Bones and Whack or whatever his name is, how's it going?
I mean, it was okay. I have definitely played more engaging dungeon crawling-esque games. Snack World, for example, even though it's a different type of dungeon crawler, it left me more... There was never a point where I felt like I was in danger in any, or challenged in any way. And that could just be partly because of the demo, but even with the way that the demo was set up, there was literally no challenge whatsoever. It was a very easy playthrough to go through. I don't think I got damaged once this entire time. Yeah.
That's surprising because you're not very good at video games.
Well, I'm trying to go pro, just say no. But, I mean, I had some pretty high expectations because I like this formula. I like these kind of games, but just this experience didn't sell it for me.
Oh, that's a bummer.
That is a little bit of a bummer. I mean, I'm hoping that the demo isn't a proper reflection of the overall game, but I'm not going to be in any rush to pick it up when it comes out.
I see.
There definitely is a lot of friendly personality in there. I really like that a lot of the time it's you going into dungeons to save other Pokemon, but they didn't really explain why Pokemon on Pokemon violence is a thing, to be exact. So...
problematic.
So, yeah, I don't necessarily know that this was the proper demo to give a full explanation of the game, but from the mechanics that I was able to experience, it's solid. It wasn't enough to convince me, personally. But if you feel differently, please let me know. On Twitter. Mobius087. Ha-cha-cha! Got it in there a second time.
Good for you.
Hey.
So moving on, another game that I just want to talk about very briefly is Warriors Orochi 4 Ultimate.
Okay.
This is a hack and slash game from Koei Tecmo and Omega Force. It's a crossover between Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors, and the Orochi series that has unique characters and gods from Greco-Roman history? Mythology.
So it's like an overall like anthology of like all of the games.
It's super
together.
crazy. And then some. It's huge.
All right.
There is a lot of content here. I only played it for just a bit this week, and I have some thoughts, but I just need to sit down and spend some good ass time with that game because it is a lot to take in. There's a lot of new systems in it, and I haven't played a Dynasty Warriors proper game in a little bit, so everything that is familiar to some people is new to me still, so I'm learning a lot of new things. So I'm going to have more impressions on this next week.
Absolutely. I mean, you do really work best when when butts are on the line, so getting that good ass time in there is, definitely where you shine.
I'm annoyed with you, but you're not wrong. You're actually very correct.
You pay attention to the butts. What can I say?
Oh, well, of course. Big old spoiler alert. I'm looking at literally everybody's butt every time I go anywhere. Aren't you?
I mean, it's a lot harder for me because I'm so mumuch taller than everybody.
Oh, what a shame. What a shame.
What a shame that I am bereft of a world of butts.
I'll break your knees next time I see you.
You're just gonna hobble me so I can come down to your level and enjoy the butts.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not even short. You're just too tall. I'll come after you with a hammer. Really... I'll be like, I'm Kathy Bates and I'm doing you a favor. That's a reference to Misery, a Stephen King novel that was made into a film that's probably going to end up getting remade because they're remaking all of his films into also mediocre films. But Kathy Bates was great in that one. Anyway, video games.
Yeah.
Galen, tell me more about the Snack World and its battle system.
Yes. So I've been playing more Snack World. I have a lot of stuff to say, but I've decided that this time, to not be monotonous, I am going to focus mainly on the combat more than anything to kind of explain that.
Spicy. I like it.
Yeah. I would like to, first off, because this is not going to be last time I talk about this game, I would like to mention my monsters of the week.
Some would say your Mao.
What?
Monsters of the week.
Oh, yeah.
Your Marv.
I getcha. Gotcha. You know, acronyms, they're a thing.
It sounds like I said the dragon from The Hobbit.
Smaug?
Smaug.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Galen.
So
you're not selling me on Snack World.
One of my favorite things about this game is the amount of personality that they put into absolutely everything, and that includes the monsters that you are fighting. So 3 of them that I want to point out that strike out at me right now is the Squirrel Squire, which he is just this little squirrel dressed up in a Three Musketeers outfit, complete with the hat with a feather in it and a rapier.
Oh, cute.
The Ogre Actor, which is this hulking behemoth ogre with a cape, a crown, and a cane, who speaks in Shakespearean soliloquies.
All stand in, right?
I know. And he's absolutely hilarious, because when you defeat him, he's like, "Oh, wherefore art thou life?" And then he dies.
I love this localization.
Yeah. No, it's so great. And then there's also the Pork Chop, which is a skeletal pig with a dagger who just runs around and just goes oink, 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 and he just like knifes you.
What does he? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. What does he do?
Oink, oink, oink.
Okay, saving that sound bit for later, right?
Yeah. Do you want one more take?
Oh no, that's fine. I'll repeat it throughout the episode.
Okay. Oh, don't worry. I'll cover that for you. But that is an example of some of the fun localization and the personality that you're actually seeing. There's a lot more, and I'll do other examples. But what also catches you into this game is the combat. So it is surprisingly in-depth for how kid-friendly and enjoyable the aesthetics are. So there aren't your regular elements of, hey, there's a fire, there's ice, and blah, 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 blah. It goes more into your weapons. Do you have 1, 2, 3 elements that they are particularly good at? And these elements could be, hey, this does really good against machines, or this does really good against ghosts, or this does really good against blue enemies. Colors also have a factor into it, so you can... Yeah. So if you don't have anything that is good against slime, but you do have one that's good against blue enemies, well, there you go. It works just as well. And those abilities also stack on top of each other, too. So if you're going into, like, there's one of the first major dungeons that you go into. One of the enemies in there is a penguin dressed up as a knight in armor. And in that same dungeon, they also have slimes, but both of them are the color blue. So if you use a particular dagger that is good against slime enemies and good against color blue, then you are expanding your range of what weapons are effective against the other monsters that are in the dungeon.
That's nice. I like that. It's very easy to understand, but it's an extra system that adds an extra layer of depth.
And each time you go into a mission, not every single time, but like each level is different from the next as far as what monsters spawn and what show up at what times. So it always keeps it like a little bit fresh, but you can definitely plan things out of, hey, I'm going to be grinding this because I really need to get some materials for my upgrades. This is the layout the layout that I'm going to equip my character with. So that brings the other thing, is gear and crafting. You can craft your own armor, you can craft your own hats, you can also craft weapons in there as well. So there is a very in-depth crafting mechanics. It's also unique because each of the weapons that you use, they aren't always the same. So you can have 2 swords, and one of them will have, your basic slash attack, and then they have a charged up slash as their, special attack. And then their ultimate attack is one that you do a anime-esque, like, multi-slash hit, and then all of a sudden they take, like, all the damage in the world.
Uh-huh.
Well, that same sword, if you craft it again, could have your basic slash attack, could have a thrusting attack, which deals a different set of damage. And the other one is a quick draw that dashes your character forward in a line. Like, it's really unique, and I did not expect this amount of variety in what I could find, which it's kind of par for the course with what I've seen from a lot of level 5 games. I think of things like Dark Cloud 2.
That's right, that is Dark Cloud, isn't it?
White Knight Chronicles, like all of that stuff has this unique weapon crafting element to it, and it's one of the things I love so much about level 5 games.
Nice. Do you have any kind of control over what type of weapon you craft? So say you're doing an iron sword and you definitely want that thrusting ability. Can you add some sort of attribute or something to it to give you a higher chance of getting that? Or do you just have to get luck of the draw?
It's, from what I can see, it's luck of the draw. I'm still very early in the game, and I feel like I'm still being introduced to new mechanics, so they might introduce that later. But once you find one you like, you can then go ahead and level up that weapon. And how you level up is that you put in either the same materials that you used to make that weapon in the first place, which will go ahead and enhance it and give it stronger stats and maybe even new abilities. But this also affects, like, the potions that you get. Like, you can go ahead and take a potion if you have another one of the same type, combine them together, and they become an even stronger version of it. But they also unlock different colors.
Oh, wow.
So I was a little bit confused on this last time, but I figured out what the colors and the styles of your clothing and everything like that actually does, and it affects your drop rates.
Huh.
So, and what's also cool is that this changes literally every day. Like, every time I've logged into the game, a different style layout has been shown up.
So then it might say that, like, today, if you're wearing yellow, you get a higher drop rate. Is that what you mean? Okay.
And there's 3 different things. They have the style of clothing, the color of the clothing, and the manufacturer of the clothing. And each one, those can go ahead and stack on top of each other. So if I have I think one of the brands is called like Moran or something like that. A Moran hat that's yellow and preppy, and it's literally like preppy, cool, jazzy, stuff like that is the how it looks.
I like the sound of jazzy.
But there's little stars that kind of pop up as you equip them, and they happen to match what the style is of that day. And there's also, you can wear a hat, you can wear an outfit, and you can wear an accessory. And all 3 of these can go ahead and sync up towards that. And then all of those add on top of each other for a drop multiplier. So if you build up your outfit collection, which seems to be what the game is starting to lean towards as far as this is what this game is really about when you get to the end game.
Fashion fighter.
Kind of. But there's so much more complexity, and I have not been seeing anybody online with other people's reviews that have been mentioning these kind of mechanics, because this is really kind of cool. You don't see this kind of stuff in a whole lot of games.
Yeah. Galen, this sounds excellent.
I'm really enjoying this game. I'm enjoying about how surprised I was, because I said it last week, I had absolutely no idea what this game was really about, other than this looks fun, you can make your own character, and you have co-op capabilities. So if you picked it up, we could play this game together.
Well, I do have the Japanese version. I wonder if you can play online with Japanese regions.
I don't know. I'll look that up, actually.
We should give it a try.
Yeah. I think it would be a lot of fun. So, but I highly recommend this game. I'm going to play it a little bit more, and hopefully I'll have some more to talk about with some more fun monsters next week.
So there you have it, folks. Coming out of nowhere, hitting us like a cape to the throat, Fashion Fighter. Wait, what is this game called? Snack World.
Snack World, a dungeon
A
crawler.
fashion game.
Eat your pork chops and relax.
I don't think I told this story on the podcast before, but about 11 years ago, I went to go see a show, and it was like for music, like live performances for music, but it was also a fashion show because the show was being put together as like an event by a fashion brand. And the two MCs, they just loved to say the word fashion show, and they kept saying it in like that exaggerated American accent. So they would be like, あ、そうですね。今日発表されるのは fashion show.
Oh, すごい!
すごい fashion show. It meant nothing. It literally meant nothing. It has never left my brain till this day, and it'll probably stay in there until I die. Why? I need that space for other things.
You're going to be laying on your deathbed. Your husband's going to be next to you. You're going to look over and you're going to be like, fashion show, and then die.
No. He's gonna die before me.
Okay. You're gonna roll over and look at the skull of your husband.
I will, and I'll be like, fashion show.
Bleh.
Why'd you make a vomit sound?
No, that's you dying. You're just like, and I'm dead. Bleh.
Oh, no. I'm gonna get 2 good years out of it after that.
Like, of life?
Yeah.
Or just you carrying around your husband's skull?
No.
Does he listen to the show?
Probably not. Why would he? So lastly, I want to talk about Kemono Heroes. Do you know what this game is, Galen?
I'm assuming it is about heroes who wear kimonos.
No, not kimono. Kemono. You uncultured American slime.
Hey, I've been to Japan. I think I know what I'm talking about.
Ugh! Ugh!
Yes, I could hear the cringe. Yes.
Oh my god, my eyes are gonna get stuck in the back of my throat. Head.
Eyes in the back of your throat. What Beetlejuice creep are you?
When you did that and I guffawed in disgust, even my toes curled just now.
Yes.
That's how disgusting that was.
Today's a good day.
No, shut up. It's terrible. It's always terrible. Anyway, Kemono Heroes. This is a game that just came out on the Switch eShop. It's developed by Mad Gear Games and published by NIS America. Mad Gear Games is like a tiny little indie dev team based in Spain. They have one other title on the Nintendo Switch called A Whole New World.
And NES, or NIS, basically does everything that is Disgaea.
Yeah, exactly. They do Disgaea. They did Destiny Connect, which I talked about on the show before, Alliance Alive. They published those games. So yeah, NIS has a big hand in lots of publishing. They're also going to be publishing physical versions of Little Town Hero.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Anyway, this game, Kemono Heroes, just came out on the Switch, and I had a hole in my heart, okay? And right next to that was another hole, and that one was left by playing Goblin Sword and not getting my 2D action platformer fix, right?
Okay, so you had 2 holes.
Right. One is, the normal one.
Yeah.
Does this make sense to you?
I'm sure it does to someone.
It was a disparaging joke. It was a self-disparaging joke. You're making me explain it.
That just makes it funnier.
So when I saw the press release for this game and I saw the screens, I was like, whoa, man, this is my visual aesthetic to a T. It is all pixelated, all like very evocative of like a late Super Nintendo era video game. That
it's in that weird, I'm looking at some screenshots right now. It's definitely in that weird area where it's more advanced than Super Nintendo, but it still is giving a great homage to it. It's like early PS1 that this was still what everybody wanted.
Yes. So specifically though, I think that like a visual style like this reminds me of something that is like Alpha Street Fighter Alpha 2 on the Super Nintendo, or Star Ocean, both of those games which used the magical SDD1 chip. Like, it was only used in those two video games. And it was
Weird.
It was to make games that could not run on the Super Nintendo run on the Super Nintendo. It's amazing. Honestly, the Super Nintendo was amazing. The chips in the cartridges themselves are what made the games run, which is so crazy.
Yeah. The entire history of just both NES but also Super NES cartridges are just, it's fascinating.
Yeah. I could watch it on YouTube all day long.
To the YouTube.
Oh my god.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Shut up. Shut up always and forever. Anyway, so this is a 2D action platformer. This is also a very multiplayer-focused game. You can have up to 4 characters playing in multiplayer. Each character is unique. It is a very arcadey style game that reminds me of things like Gauntlet Legends or Dungeons & Dragons Chronicles of Mystara in that regard.
That's really cool. I'm assuming that it's couch co-op.
Yes, definitely. I don't think that there's online co-op.
Okay. I can respect that.
What? Why do they need your respect? Ain't nobody need no respect from the Galen.
If it's a purposeful decision that, hey, I know I could do this, but I would rather focus on this kind of an experience, I can respect making that decision and not succumbing to expected trends in games.
Well, also you have to pay for the servers and stuff like that too, and work out the network infrastructure. It's a whole thing.
Listen, realist. Mine's much more like encouraging sounding.
So anyway, the visual aesthetic, like I said, absolutely gorgeous. It's inspired by Japanese folklore, so you'll see all kinds of like yokai, oni, samurai, Japanese nature aesthetic, wabi-sabi, if anyone's familiar with that. It's just gorgeous.
Nice. I really like the logo with it looks like the four characters, the 4 animals on it.
Yes, the 4 characters and their character design are so charming. The visuals are what really drew me into this game.
That's really cool. I like this.
And each of the characters is unique and has different like fighting styles and abilities that they can do throughout the levels. It reminds me a little bit of Pocky and Rocky, not just because of the character design, but also because a little bit of the run and gun feel that you have to some of the levels.
Okay, I can see that.
So anyway, it's great looking, like I said, very visually dense. There's characters in the background doing stuff. There's stuff flying around on screen. There's a lot happening that I wish I could just stop and appreciate everything, but unfortunately it's like a you need to go kind of game.
Nice.
The game is laid out in stages, so there's like 1-1, 1-2, and so on.
Okay, so it's a very like simplistic format.
Yeah, very arcadey, I would say. And,
okay.
Very much like a Super Nintendo era game. And at the end of each, world, I'll call it, there is a boss fight. And then also at the end of most stages, you meet a traveling merchant where you can upgrade your weapons and your items. This is what also reminds me of Chronicles of Mystara a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So you can level up your melee weapon, your projectile weapon, your health, all that kind of stuff.
I'm assuming that it's not full-on RPG, but it's more like side-scrolling arcade level ups. Like
yes,
you can apply things. They are technically character growth, but it's not as integral to the game.
Well, actually, I think that it might become integral to level yourself up, but you can only level yourself up at the merchant. You don't gain experience points and stuff like that. You kill enemies for their money, and you use your money to buy your upgrades. So yeah.
All right.
So anyway, there are 4 different characters that you can play as. There is a fox guy, there's a flying squirrel, there's a cat, and there is a monkey. However, this leads me to some negatives.
Okay.
There are no descriptions or anything to differentiate what it is about these characters that makes them unique. Nothing at all in the game. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll just choose the first guy, the fox, because I figured he's the well-rounded character. The Mario of the game.
Okay.
Now, just before the podcast, I went on to the official site for Kemono Heroes just to see who the developer was so I could properly credit them. The official website has little character bios and descriptions of each of the characters and their skills, just something short and sweet, like 2 or 3 sentences about them. And there's even like a brief story description for the game as well. And I never freaking heard it when I started up the game or anything. That stuff should have been in the game. I'm like, whoa, what? Like, when you choose your character, bam, you're right into the first stage and stuff is flying around the screen. I'm like, whoa, okay, we're doing this now?
Hey, it's your own fault for not reading the instruction manual.
That's actually what this made me think of, honestly. Because,
really?
Yes, because I was going to say, well, I give it a little bit of a pass because it is very evocative of arcade games or games from the mid-90s on the Super Nintendo where you would get a... what's it called? You just said it. Instruction booklet.
Instruction manual, yeah.
Yeah, you would get that with your game when you bought it or rented it.
You would open that case, you would slide it out, you would hope that this is for the PS1, but you would hope that the jewel case wouldn't break and be
Fake gamer.
in between you reading it. How is referencing a PS1 versus a Super Nintendo fake gaming?
Listen, it's all about gatekeeping in the video game community. We have to not be kind to each other.
Hey, I'm just hearing the reason why this problem exists.
Yes, I'm being sarcastic.
Judge.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You're like psyching me out here. Psych. So anyway, it reminds me of the instruction manuals, and you would usually read that on your ride home or on your walk home or whatever. And then, when you play the game on Super Nintendo, you would just start and you would just play, and you didn't really get a story happening in the game. I mean, sometimes you did, sometimes you didn't, though. It wasn't uncommon. So I don't know if it is a genuine, intentional decision that they've made to do this. I feel like it probably isn't, and it's just a coincidence, but I don't know. I guess I'm curious to know. My point, though, is that I think that having these little character bios or in-game dialogue or a title crawl in the very beginning when you start up a new game, some little kind of text from the main character, whatever, as they get moving. There's so many options, and I think that it would really benefit this game if it had that. Because, I was playing the game, and I was like, I don't know whom I'm fighting, why I'm fighting, what's going on. I'm having fun, but it's just, empty, right?
Yeah.
I don't know my character's motivation. That's what I'm really trying to say. What is this fox's motivation as he cuts down Oni and yokai?
Let me ask this. Certain developers in the past have asked or have mentioned that when they are developing their games, I'm going to use something like Street Fighter, for example. They try to design their characters in a way where if you are experiencing it for the first time, you can kind of get a sense of what this character is about just by looking at the design of their character. Were you able to kind of get a sense of that on your first playthrough and even your second and your third of just experiencing this game? Or do you feel like the lack of that description was enough separation to not really understand that?
Well, so the only thing that you really have, the foreknowledge, the only foreknowledge you have is...
I like that callback.
Shut up. Is that you see a character portrait, then you choose your character, then you play, and that's it. So all I see is a character portrait, right? From those character portraits, I can't tell anything.
Yeah, in the arcades, that's kind of what you got. And if this is very reminiscent of, you said it yourself, it had that, arcade spirit behind it of playing with your buddies at the arcade.
But I think that we are, as a gaming creative nowadays, we're a little bit smarter than that having a little blurb about them or having something is genuinely a smarter decision, right? So I'm just saying, I wish that stuff was in there. It would help to smooth out the experience, I think, because right now it just there's a couple of things that feel like they're missing, and it's like that.
I'll be completely honest, I would love to have this conversation with you at a different time. Because
do you have to go? What are you doing?
just for the sake of time. But I would love to have a more broader conversation about the expectation of gamers as time has evolved in elements like this. Have the fact that it's become more commonplace to have some story elements and have some sort of explanation that can allude to the way that a character is played. Now that is the norm, do you think that the art of giving that kind of an explanation with little words in something like character design as a lost art?
Yeah, I think we would have to talk to some game devs about this too, though.
Yeah.
At a later date.
Hey-o!
So anyway, I don't want to focus on the negative too much, and just before we move on from this, I do want to mention that everybody should just, like, for the visuals alone, I implore everyone listening to Google image search what this game looks like. Just Google Kemono Heroes. Because the visuals alone, I'm just enjoying the game so much. I haven't even played it too much, just like at World 3 or so. I'm going to have a lot more to say about it next week. But
Nice.
The mechanics feel very good. It feels really good to hit enemies. Lots of good feedback upon hits.
Do you think you'll be playing through the game again once you beat it with a different character?
I think so, yeah. And the experience so far has been good, so it would have to like really go down in order for me to not continue to play it.
Okay.
It's just a joy to look at while I'm playing, so highly recommend everybody check it out.
Yeah.
So Galen, just before we move on to the news, let's take a word from our sponsor.
And that sponsor is...
Koei Tecmo! I put in music, you don't have to do it. What up, Koei Tecmo?
What's up?
Hate you. So friends, Koei Tecmo's thrilling 1 vs 1000 franchise is back better than ever in Warriors Orochi 4 Ultimate, a new Musou action game that features characters from Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors, and the gods of ancient history joining together in an all-out fight against Odin and swarms of his evil army. All-star characters and fan favorites from past Koei Tecmo games like Ryu Hayabusa and Joan of Arc join the Ultimate cast, boosting the number of playable characters to a staggering count of 177.
That is a lot of characters. That is more characters than Smash.
Exactly. Sounds like Sakurai is a little lazy.
And there's the hate mail.
Other unique features include the addictive and fun new Infinity Mode, the ability to swap sacred treasures among characters, and the addition of 2 new endings. Warriors Orochi 4 Ultimate is available right now on the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and digitally on PC via Steam. The new game is available as both a standalone title for those who haven't yet experienced Warriors Orochi 4, or as a special upgrade pack for those who already own the previous game. Thank you, Koei Tecmo.
Thank you very much, Koei Tecmo. I'm actually really excited to see the variety of the mythological gods that are in there. I have a very special place in my heart for a lot of the Norse mythos.
It's not Norse.
Wait, I thought you said they're all going up against Odin.
Oh wait, Odin is Norse, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh god, I thought it was just like Greek gods.
No. Greek gods would be like Zeus and Hera.
Yeah, but they are in there.
Okay, so it's multiple,
It's multiple mythological gods from all over the world because there's also Chinese ones in there too.
I just want to play as Freya, and I want to shoot a bunch of arrows at all of the guys and just have them all explode, and then switch over to Odin and become a swan, and, I don't know, get busy, because that's all he did. He just turned into animals and got busy with people.
As a swan?
Yeah.
That sounds like an Untitled Goose.
Yeah, that's basically it. Untitled Goose Game is basically the story of Odin.
Warriors Orochi 4 Ultimate on the Nintendo Switch. Thank you, Koei Tecmo.
Thank you, Koei Tecmo.
So in the news this week, the big one is GDC 2020 has been postponed until summer of this year.
Yeah.
So it has been postponed due to COVID-19 concerns. COVID-19 is the current strain that is spreading throughout the world of coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
And for those who are unaware, GDC is the Game Developers Conference, which is held annually in March in San Francisco, I want to say.
Yeah.
And we get usually a lot of news, a lot of panels, lots of fans attend that event, lots of press attend that event, exhibitors. It's crazy that this is getting delayed.
Mm-hmm. No, it's crazy, but I don't know.
Understandable for sure. I'm certainly not trying to say
100%.
Health concerns are priority for this for sure, because this is already kind of a global health crisis, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. It's a little crazy to hear all the news articles that have been popping up as far as how this thing is spreading. And the objective part of me wants to take that with a grain of salt, because the news does like to sensationalize this kind of thing. But the reality of, this is an issue that needs to have action taken before it gets out of hand.
I have a big recommendation on that. If you are reading news that you're like, sounds kind of sensationalized, change your news source.
Mm-hmm.
And I highly recommend to read the World Health Organization website to stay up to date and avoid the sensationalized news.
Mm-hmm. Like, just today, somebody that I worked with came up to me and was like, hey, so did you hear how the WHO is telling everybody to shave off their beards to not get coronavirus? And I just kind of looked at him and was like, what have you been smoking? That's not what it is at all.
Did they actually say that with earnesty? Like, they actually believed that?
No, they didn't. Okay, so somebody came out and they found they were making a connection on ways to prevent becoming infected with it. And one of the things that they recommended is, if you're going to be in the vicinity where it is suspected that you could contract that, but you have to go there, to wear something like a respirator. However, in another guideline, they show that, hey, if you have these styles of facial hair, anything where the respirator would go all the way over your face, it might not create a complete seal, and it might not be effective. So, some sensationalized news outlets...
all that information is way too much to say. I just need to say the freaky thing. Did you hear that you have to shave off all of your body hair because you could be carrying coronavirus in your body hair? Start with the eyebrows first.
You've done it. I have no words. Like,
see how easy it is to spread misinformation? So read good news sources, read the World Health Organization website.
Please. Back to the topic at hand.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about this too much because, this is like a global health concern, and, everybody out there, please be careful. So anyway, there's that. But very briefly, I do want to talk about like how this affects GDC. And exhibitors are involved, advertisers, speakers, partners, all this kind of stuff. And if they move this till later, not only does this change like the topics that will be discussed or would have been discussed, because hype comes and goes in this industry so damn fast, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So there's that aspect. And then there's also, with all of the people genuinely attending, and advertisers, could this lead to scheduling conflicts for them where they actually end up canceling their GDC attendance? So for example, with Nintendo, they had a Animal Crossing panel planned for March at GDC. If GDC gets moved to, say, June, then they're probably not going to do an Animal Crossing panel, but they'll do a panel for something else that's coming out around that time, right?
Exactly.
For other people, if they have like just one game and it's already come out, or like, I don't know. There's just so many up in the air things.
Yeah,
right?
and that's the other thing. Like, going back to your Animal Crossing example, like, Nintendo could have definitely used that as an advertising platform, but there's no point in doing that when the game has already come out. Like,
yeah. I guess they could if they have. It depends on what their roadmap is, right?
This has been a very interesting time to kind of talk about these things, because we kind of mentioned this topic briefly in a different light a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about the importance of events like E3 in the industry. And this is a different take on that kind of example, because what we were talking about before, like Sony dropping out of E3, for example, is a commentary on the importance of industry as a whole, but them deciding to drop a event because of this health concern, still the same result. They're still having to move things around and they're not getting that exposure, but it's much more of a respectful, understanding way to do it. And I only bring this up because I personally had mentioned that certain places or news outlets and things like that are using the idea of dropping out of events to kind of build up hype and to kind of get advertisement on themselves or attention on themselves, which is kind of what I think Sony was doing a little bit. But in this case, I don't think that's what's happening here.
With the GDC being postponed?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. It's a health concern, Galen.
I know. It's very much a health concern.
You got lost in a corn maze, didn't you, just now?
Not really. I wanted to bring up the fact that I recognize that I had just talked about this a little while ago, and I wanted to bring up the fact that I recognize that there is very much a difference between what I was talking about then and what is happening now.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I wonder if the virus situation is only going to get worse before it gets better. And if that's the case, it's not going away anytime soon. Mm-hmm. And if you keep postponing GDC, then there's also E3. Does that get postponed as well? Not because of GDC, but because of the virus situation. And it's going to be really weird to see.
Yeah.
And so moving on, earlier in the week, there was a announcement for Samurai Jack Battle Through Time for the Nintendo Switch.
You're telling me that Samurai Jack is back? I haven't seen him forever. It's like he's back from the past. Samurai Jack?
What is this? Is this a bit? I have no idea. I never watched Samurai Jack.
What?
I know.
My joke in regards to the theme song is just
I had a feeling
missed.
that's what you were doing. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. But anyway, let's introduce this. So this game is a 3D hack and slash game.
Mm-hmm.
The art style is evocative of the animation style, but still kind of different. It's simple but strong.
It feels like it's a good compromise between the simplistic, borderless style that the animation is, and
there's a lot of flat colors in that too, right?
There's a lot of flat colors, but the big thing was that it didn't have any outlines for any of the characters, which gave it that very unique look.
Right.
But I feel like what they're doing here is the way they're designing things is very good homage to that kind of art style.
It has realistic shading and stuff in this game, which I think is actually not very like, the Samurai Jack animation.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they've missed the mark, but this does actually look all right.
Yeah.
The thing with Samurai Jack is the animation, right? Not just like the visual style, but everything moves so weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, you're going to be fighting in this game with familiar foes alongside familiar allies. You're going to be going to classic worlds and moments from your favorite episodes of the game. Of the show, TV show.
So if you go to the website, it sums up their game as an untold Samurai Jack adventure that ties into the epic series finale. Team up with trusted allies from the show to face off against familiar enemies, visit classic worlds and moments from your favorite episodes, travel to a dark future to free mankind.
This is already a dark future, I'll tell you a story right now.
Dive into the past to face off against terrifying monsters. Seek your fate as you travel across space and time. This one's interesting. Equip and master over 12 different weapons in combat, which I find really cool because the big thing is that he's got that magical samurai sword. And while he does use a couple of different weapons, especially in the last season, when a big part of it is that he lost that at the beginning of the season and had to go on this quest to find it again and kind of find that samurai warrior spirit within himself. But yeah, they mentioned that there will be multiple weapons in the game. Increase your power even more by training and unlocking new skills to support your playstyle.
RPG elements, yeah. 3D hack and slash RPG elements. We know it's a video game.
It is a video game.
It's a video game made in this era.
You push the buttons and you do the thing, and sometimes there's a jump, and sometimes you shoot the fire at the guys, and then they go and they explode.
What is this? What is this voice? Who are you?
Don't you know I'm a guy who plays video games?
Oh my god, I hate it. So anyway, I'm very interested to hear more about how the game is structured, like the game design. Like, is it going to be an open world game, or are you going to be running around going to dungeons? Is it like level based?
There was this one moment in one of the trailers where you were fighting a boss enemy, and just the scale and the way that you were dodging around, it had very like From Souls vibes. So I wonder if that's going to be some sort of
Souls
or From Software.
Oh god. Galen just making up his own words over here, and me just throwing stones from a glass house. I don't think it's gonna be anything like that though. It's just a 3D sword fighter. That's it. That's the only comparison that I can say is like Souls games.
Yeah, but I mean, who's the developer of this game? I think it was like Adult Swim Games.
Adult Swim is the publisher, and they've published some good games.
What other games have they done?
They've done a bunch of them. The one that really comes to mind though is Battle Chef Brigade. Do you remember that? It was like a 2D animated half Iron Chef, half Monster Hunter game.
Okay. I do not remember this.
But they've published a bunch of really good games.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of weird though that this game is coming out right now, right? In 2020.
Absolutely. I mean,
the series was revived back in 2017 for a 5th season.
Yeah, and before then we hadn't heard anything since it ended back in 2004. So
yeah, so I'm like, are they ramping things up for the future? Like, what's going on? I mean, PAX is going on this weekend, so hopefully we'll hear a little bit more.
I feel like this game was just like, it's 3 years too late. Like, this game should have come out back in 2017. So
yeah, we'll see though. If it's appropriately priced and it's a fun game, then I don't know.
Yeah,
could be solid.
I will pass no more judgment until we see more of it.
Yeah.
Watcha. Gotta get back to the past, Samurai Jack. Trademark.
And speaking of surprising stuff, we got new projects and announcements from Platinum Games this week. So earlier, a couple of weeks ago, they revealed, they teased 4 announcements that they were going to make. Number 1 was obviously Wonderful 101 Remastered.
Yes.
And they revealed number 2 and 3 this week. So number 2 is Project GG. This is a new game from director Hideki Kamiya. It is his first directorial game since The Wonderful 101.
That's awesome.
This will also be the first game that Platinum fully owns and is publishing themselves.
Yeah.
So you can check out NintendoEverything.com for like a trailer. There's a teaser trailer and a lengthy statement from Kamiya-sama on our website.
Did you get a chance to watch the trailer?
Oh, you bet your tits I did. Did you?
Yes.
It's interesting, right?
So I specifically wrote down in my notes here, teaser trailer shows kaiju attack with a hero stepping in to protect the best boy Japanese doggo from getting squished.
Perfectly accurate. Perfectly accurate. I was seriously afraid that dog was going to die.
I had my moments of fear, but,
God, moments of fear sounds like my day-to-day.
That is your memoir.
Yeah. So it's basically like Kaiju and Ultraman.
Yeah, I had no idea what this was.
Yeah, I mean, we still don't know. We don't even know the name. But I'm thinking that Project GG, like one of those words is going to be giant or gigaton or something like that.
Can we talk a little bit about the words that showed up after the hero stepped in to protect the doggo?
What words popped up?
Hero a go-go.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Kamiya also did tease that it's going to be in the same vein, probably, as Beautiful Joe and Wonderful 101.
Yeah, it was weird. He was referring to it like it is the third in the Hero trilogy, and he was referring...
He didn't say that, but I mean, it was a... Yeah.
But it was like... Beautiful Joe was the action hero or like the henshin archetype.
Yeah.
And then Wonderful 101 was a different one, and then this was going to be different than both of those two.
Yeah, this one is about huge heroes, I think that he said. So
yeah.
That's why I'm thinking Ultraman, right?
Mm-hmm. It's just, it's very strange because I feel like that, that Henshin A Go-Go, specifically the A Go-Go, is so closely linked to Beautiful Joe. Like, I'm really surprised that popped up in there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like his spiritual successor to both of those games that like, it's kind of like his own do-over kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because then Platinum is going to completely finally own this IP.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just like a do-over, basically. It's kind of like with Xenoblade is like a retelling of like Xenogears.
Yeah. And a little bit about the owning the IP. I think you mentioned something in there about how, I think it was Tencent offered to fund and publish the game fully.
Oh, right.
But he actually declined, saying that specifically he wanted to retain full creative control of the IP and everything.
Right.
So he definitely has a lot of faith and a lot of expectations for this.
Yeah, Kamiya-sama is like such a passionate guy and such a creative guy, and I'm always excited to see what he creates next.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to see this kind of stuff out there in the field, bringing new things to life.
And then Platinum Games' third announcement is a new studio opening in Tokyo, Platinum Games Tokyo.
Yeah.
So Platinum Games is actually an Osaka-based developer, but of course Tokyo is the capital of Japan and the population center of the country, so it makes sense to have, a base there, so that way they can grow their teams and create more games. Like, Platinum Games has so many things planned this year and beyond. They're really going to be one to watch.
Oh, absolutely. I think they were talking that they wanted a team of like 100 people to be involved in what they've got going on.
Yeah. Right now, I think they said there's less than 20 people working on Project GG, but they want up to 100 people now.
Absolutely. Which is awesome. I'm really excited to see Platinum Games kind of like step forward and just grow as a company to larger proportions, because I've really appreciated and really loved everything that they've been putting out lately.
Yeah, and from studying them, through the industry and stuff, and then through partnering with them personally as well and talking with them, the higher ups at Platinum Games are very smart people, and I feel like they don't make quick decisions and stupid decisions, They're very careful and calculated about how they go about things and when they go about things. So I wish them all the best, and I hope that it's super successful, because Platinum Games makes some super cool games. They challenge the rest of the industry to evolve and not to stagnate. So they're a really important player to have in game development.
Absolutely. I wrote down in my notes here a question. Could this be the start of bringing up Platinum's status to levels of, say, Capcom, Konami, or Squaresoft, or just something like that?
I don't know. Like, that would be way in the future, right?
Yeah, but they're definitely taking steps to try to go down that path, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what their goals are, right? So, like, Capcom, Konami, those kinds of people, they are, or companies, they are, AAA is, what they've been nicknamed, right? Platinum is still, like, AA, if there isn't really any kind of determination for those things. But
yeah,
just in terms of the budget that they have on their games, the sales goals that they have on their games, they aim lower and they're more realistic. And I like that. I like single A and double A games, in the industry. That's why I'm really disenfranchised by a lot of AAA stuff, because you see, a lot of games published by Ubisoft where they're like, okay, this needs to sell 12 million copies, otherwise it's a failure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then also we have to monetize the hell out of it with microtransactions and stuff like that. And I don't want Platinum to go that direction. I don't want anybody to really go that direction that's making, good ass Japanese games.
Yeah. Well, and then this also brings up another question. What about the stuff that they've already been working on that we know they have a hand in, like Bayonetta 3? We've heard absolutely nothing since they said, hey, we're going to be making this game.
Yeah.
Like, this is huge for them as a company. So I'm wondering where something like that kind of fits into this whole puzzle piece that they're creating.
Yeah. I hope it's soon, because it has been 2.5 years since we heard the tease.
It's been a ways.
Yeah.
Been a ways. What?
I am infection you.
I'm throwing this dictionary away. Damn it.
No, it flies. It's in space.
It just floats.
It's like when you get like a piece of tape stuck on your hand, you fling your hand and then it doesn't go anywhere.
That's this podcast in a nutshell.
No, it isn't. That's a terrible description. Anyway, then lastly on the Platinum news, we have the Wonderful 101 Remastered. There's already an announcement of the release date. What?
Yeah.
It is launching May 19th in North America, May 22nd in Europe.
Mm-hmm. And the Kickstarter's still going. Like, I think it ends on March 6th. So this is... I'm happy to get the launch date. That's amazing.
And I just a little bit of suggestion on my part. If you back, I believe I read this on the Kickstarter, if you back it, then you'll get any DLC that's going to come in the future for free.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably going to charge for that when that comes out. So if you don't back the Kickstarter now, then you won't get the DLC for free, I think.
Yeah.
And they both are the same price. Like if you back it on Kickstarter versus if you buy the game at retail, they're both the same price. So maybe think about backing the game.
I think if you go for the digital version, it's actually a couple dollars cheaper, but if you go for the physical version, it's a couple dollars more.
Oh, okay.
I think like it's not large enough of a difference to really matter all too much, but with that said, like they still have a couple of stretch goals that they are trying to reach. So if you've been kind of on the fence on this one, I'd say go for it.
Yeah, it's clearly happening.
Yeah. I think last time I checked earlier today, there were a little over 1.8 million raised, which, I mean, we know there's going to be a Switch version, a Steam version, a PS4 version. The stretch goals they've hit, they've been able to secure in a time attack mode, Luca's first mission, which is what I'm assuming a brand new bit that they're adding into the game.
Yeah.
And also a remix soundtrack, which is one they just unlocked.
Yeah, I'm excited about the remix soundtrack.
Mm-hmm. What they have left to try to reach is they are Luca's second mission, so another extra beast that they're going to be making. And then their next step up over that is an orchestral recording of some of their music.
So if you want to see any of those goals smashed, then you oughta back the Kickstarter.
Exactly. Wonderful 101, unite.
You know what? I'm going to say this. There's a little bit of overlap between like Samurai Jack and Wonderful 101. Mm-hmm. The Western version of Wonderful 101 had a bunch of really good voice actors voicing the main heroes, right? And I recognized some of those voices from like Dexter's Lab. And Dexter's Lab was made by the guy that created Samurai Jack. His name was like Gendy Taravosky or something like that.
Tchaikovsky.
And then lastly in the news, we got the Yacht Club Presents.
It was the Yacht Club Direct, let's be honest.
Yeah, it's the Yacht Club Direct, whatever. They call it Yacht Club Presents. We're going to respect them. We're going to call it what they call it, all right?
Yeah, okay. I'll abstain my comments on that till later.
Yeah, see? What a jerk you are, Galen.
I know. Hey, I have my moments too.
Yeah, you are the mean one on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We all know.
Mm-hmm. And you're the goofy one who just, keeps things lighthearted and objective.
I'm the sassy one who plays by his own rules.
I have no rules.
So, out of this very brief presentation, we got quite a few announcements. First off, we got Cyber Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
The first game that is developed by another developer that Yacht Club is publishing. The developer is Mechanical Head Studios. If I remember right, it's one guy. I don't know if the team has increased to 2 or something like that. But the publisher is Yacht Club, and they've been offering him like some advice and stuff like that. That game is going to release in fall of this year.
Yeah. I remember when they were mentioning this beforehand, and the game looked great. I think it still looks great with what they've been able to show.
Yeah, they showed a new trailer, and it looks super tight, like just polished.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also have to give them credit that they included freaking amiibo support, because it's 2020, and what game does that nowadays? That's amazing.
I just got my amiibo from Shovel Knight.
Awesome.
I just got them all.
Nice. I only have the Shovel Knight one. I haven't gotten any of the extra ones yet.
Oh, I'm a garbage person, especially for Shovel Knight.
I can't blame you, really. But using the amiibo on here, it apparently gives you a little fairy of whatever amiibo you put on there, so you can have a little Shovel Knight that kind of floats around and helps you out. And it also unlocks new colors for your character.
Yeah, and the little fairy guys that pop up, they are not just like a palette swap between the different ones. They actually do different things and like throw different stuff as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that attention to detail and just that little nod of like, hey.
Exactly. You know, a publisher and developer like Yacht Club Games, you know, that's the kind of stuff that I'm sure that they push for, because, I mean, you can see Shovel Knight is just polished to high hell, right? They add like cheat codes and stuff like that. Just unnecessary, cool little touches that people really appreciate, and that makes them like recommend the game out. It makes the game last in their head, you know? And I'm really glad to see small developers like this getting a little bit bigger and still holding those kinds of ideals in high regard. Oh, and sorry, I should have mentioned this before, but Cyber Shadow, if you don't know what that is, it is a very Ninja Gaiden, like NES Ninja Gaiden, kind of 2D action platformer.
Bits and pieces of it also looks like they have the kind of tightness and enemy layout or enemy pacing that you would find in a Mega Man game.
Oh, okay.
At least that's the impression that I got from it.
Maybe it's because you were always a Mega Man player and not a Ninja Gaiden player. There's overlap between those two.
Yeah. But it's true. I see, ether tanks everywhere.
And then next we got the announcement that Shovel Knight Dig is going to be released in 2021. So they're letting this game have its time in development. Yeah,
and you know what? Take your time to polish it up the way that your company is best known for. So
exactly.
They did also mention that there was going to be a new character in there.
They did, yes. So before we talk about that, Shovel Knight Dig, if you guys recall, is being made in collaboration with another indie developer. It's the developer of Bomb Chicken. I can't recall what that developer's name is, though.
I can't either.
But it's more of a 16-bit style instead of an 8-bit style. This one is also you digging down, kind of like Super Mario Bros. 2 style. And you're going to be fighting new enemies and familiar enemies. And some of the new enemies, like Galen said, there's a new knight. His name is Hive Knight.
I like the design. He looks cool.
Why don't you tell people what he looks like?
Sure thing. Let me pull up a picture.
Oh my god, you lying fake anythinger. God. This is all staying in. Your embarrassment is staying in. Yeah, no, we'll just click and clack right here. We'll wait.
Hive Knight introduced. There we go.
What does he look like, Galen? Have you ever seen him before?
So, Hive Knight has a very Miner-inspired-esque aesthetic. It looks like he's wearing a big coat. He's got a helmet on with these little headlamps that, there's 2 of them, so they kind of look like bug eyes. He's carrying around a gigantic bug-catching net, and he also has this little, almost as big as him, sized bug that he seems to be trying to either catch or is using as a companion, so... But he is a bug-loving spelunker.
That's such a great description. Like, I love the people that write at Yacht Club Games. You know, there's charm in, like, even those little things that they write. And then finally, we got the announcement of a new game, another Shovel Knight spin-off. This is called Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon, and it was announced for the Switch.
No, this was actually really cool to see. When it started and it showed Shovel Knight kind of like bouncing and bobbing along to the music, I almost thought that we were going to get some sort of Crypt of the Necrodancer combo, like kind of how they did Cadence of Hyrule.
Yeah.
That
this
is
isn't
not what
involving
we're getting.
that developer, right?
No. This is a completely separate thing. I think the rhythm aspect is more coincidence.
Okay.
More than anything else.
Yeah, because it does seem, evocative of that.
Yeah, it does seem... Okay, so from what we can understand, it is a puzzle-based game, kind of in the style where enemies are falling down almost... I don't want to call it like Bejeweled, but like Puyo Pop, for example.
It's a falling block puzzle game. So think of Tetris, Puyo Pop, those kinds of things.
And then what you do is you actually ram your Shovel Knight into the enemies to do damage, and they will drop gold and health and items, but they drop more of that if they are linked up together in a combo. Hence the drop puzzle, Puyo Pop-esque elements to the game.
Yeah.
But from what I was noticing, it does seem that the enemies do drop in line with the music, which is where that rhythm aspect kind of came into play that I was sensing.
Yeah, when I first watched this trailer, and check out our website, nintendoeverything.com, we've got all the information on there and the trailers. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, okay, falling block puzzle, I can't play those. Like, they're just way too stressful for me. I'm really bad at them because I just freak out. I step one panic. But as the trailer kept going on, I was like, I might have a little time for this game. It looks really good. There's like a dungeon crawling twist to it, and it plays so differently, and I think that I can trust Yacht Club to publish a game like this with a total twist on it that makes it feel unique.
No, I'm excited to see more about this game when they develop it. But I mean, we've also got Shovel Knight Dig, which is going to be coming out next year, so who knows when we'll see more details on this game.
Yeah. And then they also said that there are 2 brand new games in the works. They didn't say this, but it seemed inferred that they are 2 new IP.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think these are completely separate from the Shovel Knight. Because even they said, wouldn't it be cool if we were able to branch out from Shovel Knight as a series?
Yeah. I mean, Shovel Knight is definitely their cash cow, but they do have to diversify their interests, right?
Exactly.
So I'm excited to see anything that they come up with. They also made a mention, they said something about like, well, let's see what's going to come up in the Year of the Rat. They mentioned that in their press release. So I'm wondering, like, okay, is their new IP going to involve some sort of mouse or rat or something like that?
Obviously, you play as Shovel Rat, and it's just a... oh, God, what was that game?
I'm putting in a slide whistle right
Dig
here.
Dug. It's going to be like Dig Dug.
I would rather it be that you're more like, not Shredder, what's the other guy's name?
Bebop and Rocksteady?
No, that's the wrong one.
I'm sorry, you just said Shredder, so
yeah, the master rat.
Oh, Splinter?
Splinter, I knew it was another S. And you have to like manage your not Ninja Turtles and like teach them, and then they come back, or they go out and then they come back and they're like, oh, we got so screwed up in that last battle, and you're like, oh my god, my children are idiots. And then you have to like fix them up and teach them like what they did wrong and that kind of thing.
That is an idea in a half shell.
Oh my god. You weren't even listening, were you? You were just preparing that lame joke. Lame joke. I am not going to scan my amiibo in to give you a shitty fairy friend.
I wouldn't expect you to. Save all those fairies for yourself.
I don't like what that means. And I'm not curious to find out.
Either. I'm not sure what just happened there.
Homophobia, that's what just happened there.
Was it?
You let me be the judge.
Okay. I'm asking, was it?
Resounding yes. So now on to our additional DLC, where we recommend some sort of media, some shitty fairy thing for our lovely listeners. Galen.
Yeah, Sony.
Speaking of shitty, what do you got to recommend?
Hey, you know what I like? Tabletop RPGs. You know who's going to talk about it regardless of who cares about listening to it? This guy.
Oh, God.
So, stumbled across a new tabletop RPG system. I'm going to be recommending a game called Monster Hearts. This is a tabletop RPG created by, I believe they pronounce this, Avery Adler. It uses what's called the Apocalypse RPG system, which is, it's a lot simpler than something like Dungeons and Dragons. Instead of rolling like a d20 and then d8 for all of your damage or whatever, you just roll 2 6-sided dice. That's it. Everything you do in the game is a result of these 2 dice. The game itself is much more focused on like RPG interactions as opposed to combat and things like that, but there still is a slew of different abilities you can use. And the entire idea is that you are taking on different horror monster themed powers in a modern day setting. So werewolves, vampires, psychics, witch hunters, that kind of thing. So I've actually got 2 different links down below. The first one is called Cinderbrush, a Monster Hearts RPG story, and it's done by my Critical Role people. They decided to do a Valentine's Day one-shot where they played this game, so it's a single self-contained story. Really interesting to see them kind of out of their element from what they normally do and play something like this. It was very entertaining. But if you don't want to go through the entire thing, they also have a they call it Handbooker Helper, which is a quick 5-minute thing that explains the basic rules and just like, hey, this is what you need to know if you are interested in playing it. Yeah. So, a couple of games and ways to experience some new stuff. And if you play it, let me know, because I love talking about tabletop RPG stuff.
You can talk to him on the Twitter.
Please do so.
Plug your handle.
Oh, you can send me all of your stories at Mobius087 on the Twitter.
There it goes.
Cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. Oni, what shit are you recommending?
I loved your tone of voice with that. It didn't seem like that's what you were going to say. I'm recommending a video by, I think, a YouTube channel that I might have recommended in the past. He's so excellent. The channel is called Renegade Cut, and the video is called Do the Oscars Matter? This video came out, a while ago when the Oscar nominations were announced, so before the actual show. And I wanted to recommend this because there's a lot of parallels with other award shows, similar to when we were talking about the video game awards. He touches on all of the different aspects, such as campaigning, what gets a fair shot, what category the movie has to be in, what their limitations are. He does such an excellent job of breaking down these kind of unknown concepts in a very digestible and understanding way, in addition to posing questions, so food for thought for the listener, as well as providing all of the sources and the backup material that he used to formulate his opinions. He's just absolutely excellent. He puts out a video once a week, I want to say, maybe even twice a week, and they're always so researched, they're always so well spoken. He's one of my favorite channels on YouTube. He touches on video games, movies, all kinds of entertainment media. He even goes into politics and religion a little bit, and sexuality as well. So really highly recommend this channel in general. But Do the Oscars Matter? Check it out. Renegade Cut.
Yeah, I really enjoy videos that kind of give that food for thought.
Yeah, he's great for that. Absolutely great for that.
Awesome. I'll definitely check him out.
After I listen to a lot of his videos, even if it's about a topic that I don't really involve myself in. I just feel like I'm more well-rounded from having listened to what he had to say, because it makes me apply that kind of thought process to other things as well. And now on to the flashiest segment.
Nice.
Our listener mail.
I was afraid you were going to drop the ball there because we skipped last week, but no, you picked that up. No problem. So good job. Good job.
What? Galen, if you had balls to drop, would you write an email?
I don't know how to respond to this question, but
I also don't know why I'm posing it in this way.
Regardless of if you have balls or not. Wait, what? No.
I didn't say that. You did.
Send your emails to nintendoeverythingpod@gmail.com.
That's right. nintendoeverythingpod@gmail.com to be our friend.
What am I doing on this episode? I'm all over the place.
That's what I've been saying for the past 60 episodes.
So, this week, we got an email from Micah. Hey, Micah, how's it going?
Hi, Micah.
Micah, thank you very much for writing in this email. I'm going to shorten it just a little bit, but I like what it is that you're writing in here.
I like it.
I like it. Yeah.
I bet he's never heard that before.
Oink, oink, oink.
What? You were just waiting to throw that in somewhere and you finally couldn't hold it any longer.
Yes.
Oh my god. So Galen's going to shorten your email probably in a really terrible way. Go on.
Micah writes in, to start, a quick thank you to Mac Tesh for being on the show. I appreciate when developers spend time to give fans insight into the processes of making games we enjoy. In regards to you referencing the paperweight game of the year, mine was Another Eden. Currently for Android, but coming to the Nintendo Switch, it is a JRPG by Right Flyer Studios, with writing by Masato Kato and musical score by Yasunori Mitsuda, both having worked on Chrono and Xenogears in the past.
Xeno series.
Xenoseries,
Yeah.
my mistake.
Yes, Micah, I have kept my eye on this game. I didn't know it was actually going to come to the Nintendo Switch. I've been hoping that it would. For all of those reasons and more, that excites me to no end. I love the Chrono Trigger in particular, but Chrono series and then the Xeno series. Oh my god, it can't get any better.
Yeah, and thanks for bringing this up. I haven't even heard of this game before, but
Check it the F out, man. It looks so cool.
Hey, you got me with that musical nod right there. So
Yeah, and Kato, he wrote the scenario for Radical Dreamers, which was the sort of sequel to Chrono Trigger, and then it got reworked into Chrono Cross.
I'm gonna have to start listening to some of the music and kind of check this game out because this sounds pretty awesome.
You should. Yasunori Mitsuda is if he's not my favorite Japanese video game composer, he's one of them.
You know, I know your taste in music when it comes to video games, so I take that as very high praise.
Oh, thank you. I don't pretend to have really good taste, but I like what I like.
So Micah continues on. Also, I would like to defend Galen a little bit for his statement about Pokemon being games as a service.
Why? Why are you reading this?
With Pokemon Bank being a subscription service and each game giving players additional Pokemon to add to their national decks, the Gotta Catch 'em All metagame became just as time and money intensive as World of Warcraft. Thank you very much for that point on there, and I'm really glad that I'm not the only one who's kind of seeing this correlation between the way that the Pokemon industry as a whole is kind of moving on to this games as a service mentality. But honestly, the aspect of time as a currency, like you said, it has been time and money intensive as World of Warcraft. The time thing is something that I hadn't considered before, but you're 100% right.
Oh god, do you never think about your time as currency though? Like, I have a finite amount of time in my life, and there's only so many games I can play, so much media I can consume. I have a list. I will never be able to play them all in my entire life, and so I just freak out.
Is that why every time I say, hey, do you want to hang out and catch up, you, like, send me an invoice?
Why haven't you paid those invoices? What?
I need to see the receipts first.
Wait. If I'm invoicing you... Whatever.
No question. Moving on. I appreciate the time you take to entertain us. Thank you very much for writing in, Micah.
Yeah, thank you, Micah. It was really kind of you.
Yeah. I love the emails that not only make comments on something that we've been talking about, but also give us some new things to think about as well, whether it's a fantastic game to be able to kind of pay some closer attention to, or just a different way to think about a topic that we've already been talking about before in the past.
And I like emails that tell me how great I am.
When was the last time we got one of those?
Write in to nintendoeverythingpod@gmail.com.
Throw Oni a bone at nintendoeverythingpod@gmail.com.
Bone me.
Sure. It's on brand with the episode.
I wish I could keep that in. I'd probably cut it.
Darn. I'll be satisfied on the inside, though.
Oh, I'm going to keep that sentence in, though. So what's coming up? What's coming out on NintendoEverything.com? We have a bunch of stuff on Samurai Jack, a bunch of coverage of PAX East happening this whole weekend. I've also got some translations that I've done regarding Yoko Taro, talking about Astral Chain, and also Kamiya-sama from Platinum Games, talking about how the art direction changed for the Wonderful 101. There's a whole bunch more coming up besides that, so you want to stay tuned to NintendoEverything.com for news 24/7. Our news people are just working super hard, nonstop, day through night. Oh, and we're also going to have, I don't know if it's going to be out yet or not, but we're going to have at least a review of Samurai Showdown on the Nintendo Switch.
Awesome.
Oh, and also my interview, the interview that I did with the devs from Langrisser 1 and 2 on the new art style and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's very interesting. So stay connected to us also on Twitter at NinEverything. Also check out our YouTube, youtube.com/NinEverything. And then my Twitter is at Oni_Dino. Chat with me about video games. Your first insult is free.
Usually your second, too. The third, he starts to send invoices.
Shut up.
You can forward those invoices over to me at Mobius087 on the Twitter.
And then we both have Instagram. Mine is Oni__Dino. Galen, what's yours?
Mine is True_Mobius.
And Galen, what is some life advice you want to leave our listeners with this week?
Life advice for this week. Let's go with...
Or, it doesn't even have to be life advice. It can just be an uplifting comment. Like, wear shorts. They're comfy and easy to wear.
Nah, you know what? I'm going to give some life advice. Go up to someone who's important to you and just give them a hug. You're going to feel better. They're going to feel better. And there should be more hugs around.
You know what? I have a thingy to recommend. Or not recommend. What was this? Life advice.
Okay.
Like what you want, but don't let it define you as a human.
That is some advice that I can take myself personally, so...
Yeah.
That's some good stuff.
Mega Man sucks!
You
don't let it define you as a human!
You start off so positive, and then you wound me.
Galen, I never start off positive. You know this. You have recordings.
It's true. I have several hours worth of footage.
Yeah, actually, this is problematic. You can probably persecute me or something like that. Prosecute, not persecute, whatever. P word.
Little column A, little column B.
So keep up with us next week. And for everything Nintendo,
stay tuned to Nintendo Everything.
Bye-bye.
Adios, everyone.